Hello! Today we are discussing how letters Q, T, X, R, and doble R work in Spanish. Now let's begin. And we start with letter Q. Even though it's called slightly differently in Spanish, it still makes the same K or K sound. As a reminder, there's two other ways to make sound K in Spanish, and that's by using letters C and K. Now, there's only three ways in which you may encounter the letter Q. First, in 98% of all cases, the letter Q will be a part of letter groups K and Ki. In this case, the letter U goes completely silent. For example, quemar, querer, quince, parque, arquitectura. Again, the letter U is completely silent. I am not saying quemar or querer. It's quemar and querer. Now, in 1% of cases, the letter Q can be a part of letter groups qua or quo. In this case, the letter U is not silent. This type of situation happens only with words that are borrowed from other languages. For example, squash, quorum, quark, statu quo. As you can see, these words are pronounced the same way as we would do it in English. Lastly, in another 1% of words, the letter Q is followed by a vowel other than U, or it's located at the end of the word. These words mostly come from Arabic, according to the internet. For example, Qatar, Iraq. Here, the letter Q makes a normal sound K, with no complications whatsoever. As you probably know by now, in most cases, the letter Q is a part of groups K or Ki, so the only thing you need to remember is not to pronounce the letter U that follows it. The next letter is the letter T. It's not T, it's T. And it makes the same sound as we have it in English. For example, taza, tipo, pasta, tomar, meta. Simple, right? Now let's discuss the letter X. It works mostly the same way as in English. It all depends on the position that it takes. If it's positioned in the middle or at the end of the word, it makes the sound x, just like in English. For example, sexto, exposición, mixtor, clímax, oxígeno. But if it's located in the beginning of the word, it makes the sound s. In English it's more like z or z, but in Spanish it's se. Let's see some examples. Xavier, xenófobo, xenón, xilografía. Now, one more thing. You might have noticed that for some reason the country of Mexico in Spanish is called Mexico. Another word like that is Texas. Even though both of these words are spelled with X, they are pronounced like letter H in the word ham. These two words are exceptions, where the letter X works differently. And that also means that all the derivatives that come from words Mexico and Texas will also work the same way. For example, mexicano, tejano. As far as I know, there are more exceptions like that, but those are the words that you will probably never see in your life. Just focus on Mexico and Texas. The next letter is letter R. Let the fun part begin. So, the letter R makes sound R. No shit. Now, there's a chance that you may be having trouble with that. And unfortunately, my first language is Russian, so the sound R is as natural to me as breathing the toxic air from Chernobyl. That makes it hard for me to actually explain how to do this. I will do my best, and I will also send you a bunch of videos from other creators who seem to know much more on this subject than I do. So, deal? So, as far as I understand, in order for you to roll your R's, we have to focus on three things. Part 1. We have to identify the area where you need to touch your tongue in order to produce the R sound. This area is located right behind your teeth, so if you go like this, the very first bump that you encounter, that you feel, that's where the sound R is produced. This area is called alveolar ridge. Jesus Christ, it's hard to say. Alveolar ridge. It's right here. I hope you can see it. So, Part 2. Start making the d sound, like a letter D, but harder, de. Do it like this. De. Now, go faster. Try like you're trying to start the car. Go like Part 3. When you're doing the whole de thing, imagine you're sneezing, or not imagine, do the sneezing. Try to sneeze. So it goes like this. Jesus. It sounds like you're trying to start a car, right? It's like you should feel a vibration in the area of alveolar ridge. And that's exactly what it means to roll your R's. Now your job should be to reproduce this sound without the whole d routine before. This will certainly take a lot of practice, so good luck, I believe in you, and if you need any additional help, go search for it somewhere else. Now let's talk about double R. In Spanish it's called doble R or R. So basically the main difference between single and double R is the length of the sound. When you perform a single R sound, your tongue has to touch the alveolar ridge area only once, which results in a very short sound R, like this. R, 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 R. See, I'm only touching it once. This is called simple R, simple R. But with double R, your tongue should touch the alveolar ridge multiple or many times, which will result in a much stronger or trilled sound R, R. This is called rolled or trilled R. So we have R and R, 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 R. Hear the difference? The slightly confusing thing here is that by default, when we have one letter R, it means that we have to use the single R sound. But when we have two letters R together, it will make the long rolled R sound. Even though it's correct, it's not the full story. The thing is that even a single letter R can make the long rolled sound R. Just like with other letters, it mostly depends on the position of the letter in the word. Allow me to clarify. Let's begin with the simple R sound. It's used when it's located between two vowels, for example, aro, para, oro. It's also used when the letter R comes after a consonant that is not L, N, or S. For example, brazo, presente, alacrán. And it's also used when it's located at the end of the word. For example, amar, vivir, comer. Here it all makes sense, because here we are talking about one letter R making a simple R sound, so no need to worry about anything. Now let's compare it to the rolled R sound. It is used at the beginning of the word, for example, rojo, rana, rosa. It's also used when they come after consonants L, N, or S. For example, alrededor, enredar, sonrojar. It's used when it's at the end of the word, for example, amar, vivir, comer. And of course, it's used in the words with two-letter R. For example, acorralar, barrio, carril, irreal, jarro. As you can see, sometimes even if a word has only one letter R, it can still make the long rolled sound R. For example, when it's located at the beginning of the word. You might have also noticed that we have the at the end of the word situation for both simple R and rolled R sounds. So what's up with that? The thing is that apparently when it comes to having letter R at the end of the word, it's a matter of your preference, meaning that you can choose to either make a simple R sound or a rolled R sound. Both options are completely legal and acceptable, but only when it's located at the end of the word. So here we had an example of three words, amar, vivir, comer. So what I'm trying to say is that they can be pronounced as both amar, vivir, comer, and at the same time, amar, vivir, comer. So it's up to you. Another good exercise is to compare the pairs of words pero and perro, and also caro and carro. Here is when it's important to understand the difference in pronunciation, the difference between two sounds, R and R. The word perro with one R means but, and perro with two R means dog. Same goes for the second pair. Caro with one R means expensive, and carro with two R means a car. This is a perfect example of how important it is to understand the difference between these sounds. So let me try again. Caro, carro. Caro, carro. Pero, perro. Pero, perro. And we did it. I know it wasn't easy, and this will take time, but you're not the first person to go through it, and you won't be the last. Check the description box for the additional help, and let me know if you have any questions, and see you soon!